Hi, everyone, and welcome to week 21 of Reading Through our Bible in 1 year. And just going to share some of my thoughts from this last week. We read through First Samuel into Second Samuel, and Psalms, Proverbs, and John. And this week we saw how King David was being pursued by Saul, and then Saul went into battle and was killed. Well, he was injured and then took his own life. And then after that, King David becomes king in 2 Samuel. One thing that I find remarkable about King David is his grace towards Saul, his enemy. Basically, Saul spent most of his time trying to kill David, and yet David was so gracious towards him, even when he died. I don't think I'd have that much grace towards an enemy who was trying to kill me and then dies. But he is so heartbroken when Saul dies, and Jonathan as well. And then he makes a promise to look after anybody who's left in Saul's family and to be gracious to them. Also, we read John, and we went from the last miracle, the book of John is the raising from the dead of Lazarus, into the end of Jesus' life as he's riding in the triumphal entry, and then his preparation to leave. He's giving instructions to his disciples before he goes to the cross. And so that's what we read this week, and some of Psalms and Proverbs. Psalms, we spend a lot of time in Psalm 119, which is the longest psalm in the book of Psalms, and really good scriptures in that as well. What stood out to me this week was, I'm just going to read a couple of verses that I journaled on. It was Proverbs 15:31-32. It says, "If you listen to constructive criticism, you will be at home among the wise. If you reject discipline, you will only harm yourself. But if you listen to correction, you will grow in understanding." Nobody likes to be corrected, but a humble heart will stand correction and will change and listen. And that's how it says you become wise. And, someone who's wise in their own eyes, they won't accept correction. And we see that in King David when we got to the point where he sinned with Bathsheba. And when he was confronted with that, he humbled himself and he repented before God. He was not a perfect man. He messed up. But when he messed up, he didn't become like Saul, where he became proud and turned away from God. Rather, he humbled himself before God. And then also in Psalm 119:32, it says, "I will pursue your commands, for you expand my understanding." And if, it uses the wise in those verses, it talks about wisdom and understanding. And wisdom and understanding come from God. We can learn lots of stuff. We can know a lot of knowledge. We can go to school and expand our knowledge, and education is valuable. But if you don't have the Holy Spirit, if you don't have God, you're missing out on really the true wisdom that comes from God. And in John 14:6, it says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father by me." The way to understanding, the way to the truth is through Jesus, and the way to life is through Jesus. I love that verse. And one more verse I just want to read, sort of along the same lines, is from Psalm 119:33 and 34. It says, "Teach me your decrees, O Lord, and I will keep them to the end. Give me understanding, and I will obey your instructions. I will put them into practice with all my heart." Again, just the wisdom and understanding that comes from God. And that is what we will gain through reading through our Bible through the year, but also just listening to God and listening to his voice. So I just wanted to encourage you that we can become like Jesus and have that wisdom, that understanding, but it comes through knowing Christ and following him and obeying his commands. All right. Well, God bless you. Have a good week.